Well, if you missed the good news this morning, there has been some major progress made that right now we are seeing reflected in the charts. We're seeing a lot of green throughout the space. Shiba Inu has broken this trend that we were waiting for it to break. And this is a very promising moment. But what I'm really thinking about is how things can accelerate as we get into the week. And I want to talk about that with you guys because this is something that we saw actually last week that led us to some really good early week performance. And now, because we're out of structure, it can actually be magnified. So if you are new or haven't already, again, show your support for the channel down below. Appreciate everything you guys do, all the time you spend watching. It's been incredible. And right now, what SHIB is starting to do is looking like it could in fact be incredible. I'm not saying today is that. Today we're only up about 2%, but we're looking pretty good. We talked about getting down into the corner of these charts. We were fighting against resistance yesterday. We were fighting against this neckline on this inverse head and shoulders, just like we were seeing in basically everything across the crypto market. And we've now broken that neckline. We are actually sitting kind of out here in no man's land. We're below our 20-day moving average. We're in this basically big discount box like we had talked about many, many times before. And so we're in a spot where SHIB can actually get a little bit of legs under itself and actually start to extend. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure. You know, we need to obviously see BTC continue to do what it's doing here. We need to see Ethereum continue to make moves. It's nice to see ETH above 4K, but really 4,100 is an important level. 4,250 is another one. So we have to watch those very closely as we get into the early part of the week. But why the market is starting to see a little bit of liveliness here early on a Sunday is this news. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent said China is ready to make a trade deal which will remove President tariffs 100%, or President Trump's President tariff, 100% tariff. And this was in fact confirmed by China's Vice Minister of Commerce. So what you're actually seeing is consistency from both sides here. And it sounds like we're very close to this thing that has caused major uncertainty in the market to being removed. And that's exactly where the market maybe gets the confidence that it needs to extend us to the next zip code. Now, again, I'm not saying that it has to happen for sure. Understand that we're still waiting for Thursday. Thursday is going to be the day that Donald Trump and Xi Jinping are going to be sitting down. And this actually is following the conclusion of our FOMC meeting, which is going to be on Wednesday. So this is actually something that could turn into a very exciting and explosive week. Now, again, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but where things can get really wild is if we start to see some green in the markets today, you start to see some of that capital moving back in, and then the stock market gets to react to this exact news on Monday, which the stock market had been kind of putzing around and waiting. And now it has a moment of excitement as well, which can roll over to crypto, which then in turn pumps crypto. And sometimes you get just this big early week rally. Okay. Now, again, we'll have to, wait and see what happens. I'm not Miss Cleo. I don't have a crystal ball. But I will say that's very promising is one, SHIB set a new all-time high in terms of holders, just slowly and steadily moving up and to the right there. But two, what we also saw was an increase in whale activity. Actually, we got a little bit of a spike over the last 48 hours here. It looks very small on this chart, but you're seeing some of the top holders of SHIB actually get lively again and accumulate more supply. So whales have been adding very consistently during this dip, but they got a little burst of excitement, especially with SHIB right on the edge of its trend here. That's exactly what we want to see, as long as they're whales that are accumulating and planning on holding longer term. If you guys missed my ADA video earlier today, it's a very, very low volume weekend. We have not seen this low volume since all the way back at the end of September. Right now, SHIB is sitting at 107 million in trading volume over the last 24 hours. So pretty quiet. And this might sound familiar for those that have watched my SHIB content for a while. We've talked about times where SHIB volume has gotten really, really quiet down in this, 180 million, 70 million range right before it gets really loud and it goes on a nice move. Is that what we're about to see again? Well, I guess the early week will tell us, but that's kind of where we're at here. We'll see where we end the weekend at. We'll see how we get into the week, but things are looking pretty darn good. So appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.